How can you come to a wet fit and don't expect for you to get wet? You don't know it's blows you go get. You watching SAT TV.
Bring out the reading, SAT Telecoms.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Alicia George, your presenter. In our top stories, 120 successfully complete SEEP training program. New legislation in BVI may threaten press freedom. Afghan prisoners freed from Bagram amid U.S. protest. And in sports, Sam Martin Point Michel advanced to semi-final round in Division 1 League. Details of these will follow.
You're watching SAT Telecoms.
Welcome back.
Nuestros ojos siempre dispuestos a aligerar nuestra carga y multiplicar nuestro talento. Túnez inspiras Chávez, no nos engañemos. Todo artista venezolano detiene sus sentimientos y en sus pensamientos, porque tú fuiste, eres y serás el eterno presidente que gobernará desde.
On Wednesday, February 12th, the Venezuelan embassy to Dominica hosted Chavez Was Here, a celebration of the worldwide journey of Cuban President Hugo Chavez. In remembrance of this revolutionary leader, the embassy held a photo exhibition flooded with pictures of the late president and his accomplishments around the world. Cuba also celebrated 200 years since the Battle of La Victoria on Wednesday. Dr. Philbert Aaron, Venezuelan ambassador to Dominica, noted that Hugo Chavez and Venezuela by extension has helped Dominica generously at a time when the country was experiencing fiscal ruin.
Not only was he here, he worked with us and helped us at a critical period in Dominica's history. We, a number of years ago, went through a fiscal and economic crisis that could have compromised our independence. And Chavez and Venezuela stood by our side and helped us to go through that difficult period.
Hugo Chavez has visited Dominica twice since his presidency after the countries established formal relations in Dominica in 1996. In attendance were members of the Cuban Brigade, Venezuelan Army Navy, students of the Institute of Venezuela for Cultural Cooperation, and members of Petrocaribe. In more news, the Division of Agriculture's Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit of the Division of Agriculture is about to commence the next spray cycle for the control and management of black sigatoka. All banana and plantain farmers need to prepare their fields for this cycle by removing all diseased leaves with stages 3 to 4 and 5 of the disease, as shown at training meetings and on-farm demonstrations, as well as desuckering to reduce the humidity in the fields and weeding of fields and farms.
Black sigatoka has been an invasive species that has caused serious problems in Dominica. And that disease, one would know, affect plantains and banana. We are very much interested in the sustainable development of banana and plantain in Dominica. These two crops contribute to our GDP. It is a source of rural employment and livelihood to many people.
According to Mr. Anselm, the government is doing all in its power to fight the disease, so it is important that farmers play their part. Farmers are further advised that the fungicide Tilt will be used in the cycle and specific restrictions must be adhered to. All banana and plantain bunches must be bagged or sleeved, as Tilt will not be applied if the fruits are not protected. Farm owners and farm workers and or laborers must ensure that they remain out of the field for at least 24 hours after spraying occurs. Spraying will not be conducted in residential areas. Therefore, cultural practices such as deleafing, desuckering, and composting are encouraged in those areas.
Black Sigatoka government has spent approximately $1 million trying to control Black Sigatoka. So, and that is why we're urging people to comply to the requirements for the importation of agricultural products and plant parts. And you know, we have a system of trying to conceal things when we travel. And concealing the things, you can bring in pest and disease. We have a backdoor system in Dominica, illegal ports. People bring in not only plant material but animals, dogs, and these things. And we are sending a strong message to these people that this is a very dangerous practice, and if you are engaged in that practice, you should stop it, because what you're doing, you're taking a produce, an animal from a country that has not been tested, that has not been certified from a vet or an extension officer or a plant protection officer of the country of origin.
He said this is a perfect example of how disease and pests are spread from other islands into Dominica. For further information, please contact Black Sigatoka Management Coordinator at the Division of Agriculture Plant Protection Unit at telephone numbers 266-3817, 266-3820, or 266-3807. In other news, Dominican playwright Mr. Alex Bruno will soon be releasing a very detailed book on the history of calypso and soca music in Dominica. He said this book, titled Historical Perspectives of Calypso and Soca, A Labor of Love, is expected to make its debut during or at the end of the Carnival 2014 season.
The historical perspective of calypso and soca took me all of 2011, 12, 13, and the better part of 14 so far. It started as a commendation or an article that I was writing to congratulate Tasha P., who had been the first female monarch of Dominica. And upon writing the article and researching the information that I needed, I found that there were so many things that had to have been taken care of before you could write an article about a first calypso monarch being a woman. So that piqued my curiosity. I started digging deeper, and I basically discovered a gold mine of information that had not really been put out in terms of women contribution to calypso and the significance of Tasha P. winning that crown. So the research continued, and I got further enticed, and I went deeper into this thing, and 11 or 12 chapters after, we have a complete book in terms of the historical perspective of calypso and soca.
The book provides an in-depth look at the past, present, and future of women in calypso, and also gives a brief account of the history of calypso and soca in Dominica and how the blend of soca music relates to the works of Dominican musical pioneers. The work also revisits the struggles and the meaning of the art form of calypso and places focus on the courageous Dominican women and their role in defining calypso and soca. He revealed had it not been for Miss Tasha Pelty, better known as Tasha P., being the first calypso monarch of Dominica, this book would have never come to life, and such valuable information would probably have never been released. And so he has written the book as tribute to her, being one of the pillars of Dominica's calypso music.
I'm hoping that this text become part of the teaching material at the primary schools, high schools, college and university. It should be a reference text, at least at the schools, and so students mainly, and pupils, and also people who love the arts and people who have an appreciation of literature and who wants to learn about calypso. So everyone, but my emphasis basically in this book is to target the children, because the children really must be told. And we talk about the formation of the Dominican Calypso Association. We speak about the challenges that the guys had to come together to form. So many things is captured in this book that I really, really want people to see and to know, and especially the children who have no clue. That after getting the information, they'll have a better appreciation of what this noble art form of Calypso and soca meant to us as a people.
He explained the most difficult part of this book was rereading the many versions and edited parts. Special mention is made to Mr. Gordon Henderson, Mighty Sparrow, Mr. Chris Seraphin, Hayden Lord Tokyo Desiree, Mr. Avis Bruno, Mr. Vaughn King Shaky James, and Mr. Ian Jackson, all of whom instrumental in the creation of this book.
So we just basically brought all the pieces together, and to me this is what is amazing. I am really enjoying reading the book that I compiled that belong to other people, so to speak. So that to me gives me the most joy. Writing is very, very hard. The edit can be painstaking. The checks and balance, the proofreading, it's really hard work writing a book. So that cannot be enjoyed as much as seeing the finished product in front of you. And that to me gives me the greatest joy. I have a copy of the manuscript here, not in the book form, but a read of this, gives me the kind of joy that nothing else has given me, in terms of what it looks like and what it's actually going to be. So, I walk along with it, I read it every now and then, and even at this last stage before we get to press, I still can make one or two changes. But yes, the read of this is, gives me the ultimate joy.
The publishing company has yet to be selected, but Mr. Bruno says he's almost certain it will be Amazon. The final price has not been determined, however, books will be available at the cost of $30 at all bookstores around Dominica. In other stories, the Adult Education Division held the official closing ceremony of 10 capacity building programs under the Community Empowerment and Enhancement Program, SEEP, which targeted the communities of St. Joseph, Layu, Dubic, Penville, Thibault, Benz, Gutter, Tarishpit, Stockpan, Foncolay, and Portsmouth. The programs, which were conducted from October 2013 through to January 2014, sought to effectively address the social and economic challenges facing communities.
We continue to provide an avenue for our citizens, allowing them the opportunity to build on what they have, to develop what they have, and encouraging them to choose their course of development.
This focus on continuing education, leadership, parenting, and skills training, in which 120 applicants employed the opportunity to participate. Mrs. Andre noted we must learn to build around our own needs for our own development.
And I think this is what we are more or less doing. We are looking at our needs, we are identifying our needs, and we are coming forward trying to build around those needs and to make them, be satisfying to us, help us to grow, help us to develop, help us to participate, and help us to contribute to nation building.
Training courses included sewing, computer repair, arc welding, parenting and leadership training, and food preparation.
In planning the programs, we sought to ensure that the different components of SEEP reflected communities' priorities and needs, that the modules were developed based on the division's past experiences with programs, knowledge of communities, as well as some input from some of the participants. We also sought to ensure that strengths and talents within the communities were enhanced by employing the skills of resource persons within that community. And of course, there was collaboration with other existing government departments in order to scale up the interventions at the community level.
According to Ms. Paul, participants, particularly from the Penville and Thibault communities, showed great initiative towards the programs. Representing the Prime Minister, Honorable Gloria Chillingford, Minister responsible for Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, says she looks forward to continued high-quality work from the participants.
The program commenced with 155 participants. Well, some always fall along the way, and so 120 persevered to the end. Congratulations to you participants who have made it to the end.
It is hoped that as an emergence from this training, persons will venture into their own small businesses. In more news, the final contestant for the Miss Dominica 2014 Queen pageant, Miss Shalina Samuel, representing the Roseau North constituency, can now breathe a sigh of relief as she was on Thursday, February 13th, partly sponsored by Petrocaribe. Sales and Marketing Manager at Petrocaribe, Mr. Ian Pinard, made the announcement during the Dominica Festivals Committee weekly Carnival press conference.
Well, we are here because we wanted to do something special again this morning. The Prime Minister called and indicated that he wanted us to assist in a big way. And they're one of the Queen contestants who are not yet on board or who haven't been sponsored. And we're here this morning in a big way to see that Ms. Shalina Samuel of Stock Farm will now be sponsored by Petrocaribe, and where we have made a sizable check to DFC in the amount of $10,000. So as of today, Ms. Shalina Samuel of Stock Farm is now part sponsored by Petrocaribe. We are very happy that we were able to do this. I think she was excited too when we told her the news. She was very happy because I know she had some fear before that she was not sponsored. And I told her normally they say you save the best for last. And you know, she's the last one being sponsored, and I think good things is going to happen to you, Shalina. So we're very happy to have you on board. We're very proud to be sponsoring you this morning, and we're hoping that you are going to do an excellent job on the 9th of the 28th of February.
He said the company has been partnering for Carnival with the DSC and other Carnival committees island-wide to assist in various ways. Petrocaribe thus far has spent $50,000 in this year's Carnival celebrations, demonstrating the company is fully on board. He remains hopeful that other sponsors will come on board to assist in whatever way they can.
But Petrocaribe, since we signed the agreement in 2005, we've seen Petrocaribe grown significantly from 7 staff, and now we have over 38 staff. So we are contributing significantly to the employment of Dominica. And not only with the storage facility that we have in Jimmet, which we have invested over $40 million US, but we have seen other projects that contributing to the employment of Dominica, where we've seen the LPG bottle when we started in 2010. We have over 60 agents, and that itself is another form of employment. We look at the fisherman fuel station that we have over Dominica, which is 6 of them, and we open to our 10. And each of these fishers station employ 2 persons, and that again is another form of employment. So when you add all the different activities that Petrocaribe, since we signed the agreement, we've seen over 100% being employed within the Petrocaribe family. The other projects that we have done, which are significant, the river wall at the Belfast River, which is just concluded, where we had over 40% employed there. When we look at the Soufriere Scott City Defense Wall, we had over 60% employed there. So the different projects that we are bringing into Dominica, the US and Petrocaribe employed a significant amount of person, and so far we have seen close to 400% employed under the Petrocaribe arrangement since it has been signed in 2005.
All these projects, in addition to sponsoring various carnival activities, he said, are clear indications of Petrocaribe's commitment to giving back to the community. Ms. Shalina Samuel thanked Petrocaribe for their kind gesture in sponsoring her.
I am grateful and honored to be sponsored by such a great institution whose aim is development, all about development. I will continue doing my best in the pageant and also in life. Few persons that I would like to also thank for helping me along the way from the beginning of my journey to the throne. I would like to thank the Prime Minister, Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Julius Timothy, my parliamentary representative, Grace Stevens and family, especially Sinead Stevens, my chaperone, Kimara Ito, Jessica Bruni, my assistant chaperone. I'd like to thank my uncle, Nickel Samuel, and his wife, Chirona Samuel, my team members, Natalia Privo, Melisha Tuse, Claudia Henderson, Cotella Defo, Selena Bruno, Adina Bell at Valentine's. I'd like to thank Mr. Val Coffey, Mr. Dylan Cochran, Ms. Joanna Peer, my band, T. Orchestra.
A special thank you also went out to the Dominica Festivals Committee, the Queen Show Committee, and their facilitators. In other stories, Public Relations Officer of Carnival Corner, Mr. Emmanuel LeBlanc, says he would like to see more costume bands integrated into Dominica's Carnival annually. He said there is a growing trend where there is an increase in the number of persons registering for t-shirt bands, which he considers to be having a negative impact on the traditional costume bands.
We know it is costly. It is very, very costly. I would like, for example, the private sector to try to come, get involved. As I can see, the t-shirts taking over in Dominica right now, but this cannot highlight our carnival. You go anywhere in the island around the world, you look at costume bands. And now in terms of the tourist product, we have changed from Tuesday to Monday and Monday to Tuesday. As you can see, on Tuesday you have very few bands, and that's done for the tourists. So if we have to bring up more costume bands, more groups, more people to come on board, there's a cost involved. I'd like to see the prices first of all improve from what it is presently. This itself will encourage other groups to come on board with more costume bands.
The Carnival Corner Band will be celebrating its 21st year of playing this year. Registration is open to entire families wanting to play mass.
On Monday, which is traditional mass, which we'll be playing, if you're not playing in the band, in the costume band, and you're only doing sensei and sexual sobe, you can register and you only pay $50. Now for the sensei, first of all, you have a number to carry. So we have numbers from 1 to 40. So if you want to be involved in Carnival Corner for Monday, you can purchase your number at Leather Goods in Pottersville with Curtis Gordon. So if you want to, if you're playing for the 2 days, both sensei and costume band, you only have to pay $275. Our costume band is the most affordable on island. A very exciting band. Our sound system will be Dr. Stick, get the sound system. I mean, he played for us last year. We were quite impressed with him, and I think is that we played we have all sorts of music, primarily our calypsos. Our 2014 calypsos for sure will be played. So we can assure give our patrons the assurance that during the carnival, both this Monday and Tuesday, that they will be immersed with lovely calypsos for 2014.
Mr. LeBlanc noted the band is very original, producing all of their costumes locally, a challenge they face annually to develop new concepts that will be appealing to the patrons.
The children's section is $150 and the adult is $275. To register with Carnival Corner, you have Curtis Gordon and the Leather Goods in Pottersville, or Norma Shillingford in Canal Lane. Numbers, Curtis Gordon is 277-7879, Norma Shillingford 824-2220, and the PRO also Mr. Emmanuel LeBlanc, that is 315-1445 or 448-2396, or Mr. Dorian Simon at 448-5253.
Janae Jackson has been crowned the 2014 Stardom Queen of the Tent after competing against 5 other competitors for the title. The show, which took place on the night of Wednesday, February 12th, welcomed Calypsonians including Twana, Lady B, Alicia, Caribbean Rose, and Singing Sandy. Janae won among the 2 other competitors, Alicia and Singing Sandy. She is also the reigning 2013 DBS Christmas Song Contest winner. In other stories, the Pan Association of Dominica is much better placed financially when they received a check in the amount of $5,000 from the First Caribbean International Bank on Thursday, February 13, 2014.
CIBC First Caribbean International Bank is happy to be associated with the Real Mass 2014 and proud to be sponsors of the steel pan aspect of the celebrations of our culture. Happy because First Caribbean can identify with the theme, Nous connaître vivre. Through the varied and wide assortment of products and services that are offered at CIBC First Caribbean, people of all walks of life can access these to make their life more comfortable, and so echo the theme with assurance, yes, nous connaître vivre. Proud, because CIBC First Caribbean is truly a fully Caribbean bank, operating in 17 territories from which a person can do business as if he or she were in their home territory.
She said it is important that we all keep the great tradition of pan music alive for those who have worked hard to make it what it is today. One of these persons was Mr. Eddie Andre, who passed away on Sunday, February 9, 2014. Representative of the Pan Association, Ms. Claudine Charles, thanked the bank for the kind donation while urging for future relationships along with her partner, Mr. David Winston, who teaches pan music to students.
Well, our projects are still on board. We will be out on Carnival Monday, which is a sponsored event as well, at our First Caribbean Bank, and we are hoping to be out as well on other duties. And the negotiations are still ongoing. They are coming slowly but surely. And like Shalina, we did not give up. And we will not give up. We will try our best to sustain pan music throughout this carnival season and also in future endeavors. Thank you.
Take a listen to some pan music by Mr. David Bob V. Winston.
Thank you, Bob B.
This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.